What is going on, everybody? This is the Digital Cypha Podcast. I am your host, Ebonics, alongside with Dio Zales and the Don CJG. Dio Zales and the Don CJG. What is going on, everybody? What is up?
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a busy week.
Busy
How are you,
week.
Mike?
Sounds like you've been working a little too hard. Busy week. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
You
always.
was sleep. Look,
Always.
you was sleeping the last two episodes. You're like, man, I just woke up and I realized I had to jump on the podcast.
That is true. I can't deny that.
So how was this?
Can't deny that.
How was this week big for you? How was it? How was it good?
Oh man, what we felt like the beginning of the week wasn't too bad. It was pretty chilled out. But when you get to late half, Thursday I picked up the new puppy and it's just been chaos since then.
Oh, that's right.
So yeah, I've just been chasing this little guy around and everything.
Okay. All right. And Dio Zales, what's going on?
Nothing much. Pretty busy week for me as well. Had a big report going on at work. Got most of it done. Been playing little things here and there. Season 24 of Diablo 3 started yesterday, so I'm definitely be hitting
24?
that pretty hard. Yeah.
Damn.
Yep.
Damn.
The seasons are pretty good, man. Like,
Yeah.
I feel bad that I never really understood the end game before. Like, a lot of cosmetics that I missed out on. All
Yeah, you should
free.
just came to me, man. I would have told you.
I know, right?
Coming from the Halo guy, he's like, man, I can tell you everything about Diablo. But first, we're going into the pre-flight for Halo. All right. That's cool. Some things been going on this week. Some things that I'm gonna be a little bit, iffy on. So,
Mm.
yeah. But one of the highlights was EA Play. EA Play did happen.
Yep.
Of course, my main thing is Battlefield. And I'll be honest, I am not the best person for Battlefield. I'll jump in, I shoot a couple people, and I die, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, Battlefield is not your Call of Duty, and I learned that real quick. So, but to see the graphical, quality that is 2042, I'm pretty much looking forward to that September beta that they have. Let's see if I can jump into it. How was the EA Play for you guys?
Well, for me, I mean, I'm not really too much into sport games, and not to like take away from those people who play those games, but I kind of don't see the point of them announcing them every year because we know they're gonna come every year. So unless they're gonna actually change the game to a degree that's gonna make a difference, I think we could expect them, right? We've had them consistently since like the 90s. I remember playing like sports games like that since like Sega Genesis days and Super
But
Nintendo. So
Dio, the next gen physics.
if they give them to it, right? I don't know. The last past years have been a lot of copy and paste from what I see, so I don't
Oh,
know.
literal copy and paste, yeah.
But what about the realistic faces and the movements and the mouths and the pores and the sweat? Like, it's all there. Doesn't that?
I think it's just kind of funny because, and it's not all the people who play these games, right? But like, when you think of the typical dude who's playing like these sports games, I mean, this is a typical dude, like, he doesn't want to admit that he's a gamer, right? He's like, oh, I don't play video games. I just play like, sports games. And then like, they want to make fun of people who play like role-playing games and stuff like that, and like
The
LARPers. But yeah, so it's like, hey Chad, like when you were a kid, like do you remember like pretending you were like Michael Jordan, like dunking, or pretending you were whoever this sport athlete was? You were literally LARPing, dude. Did you not realize that when you're doing that, right?
Mm.
So, I would say that the most interesting thing that I saw was Lost in Random. It was like this game with this little girl and this like dice thing that was following her. It kind of reminded me like a weird like Alice in Wonderland kind of feel.
Okay.
That's coming September 10th for all consoles and PC. Pretty cool. I liked it. It looked pretty cool. It had like that stop motion animation.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but everything else was kind of like stuff we kind of expected. I mean, they
Mhm.
talked about Knockout City season 2. I mean, I think we were all expecting that. obviously Battlefield 2042, which was awesome to see
Yeah.
the new, some more stuff.
You better recognize the awesomeness. You better recognize it.
Yeah, definitely that's definitely awesome. I'm definitely gonna be getting that. Apex Legends. I mean, we know there's gonna be more Apex stuff. Dead Space didn't really hit me that hard.
Yeah.
First of all, I have to admit, I never played any of them.
Oh, okay.
So that's part of it.
Hold up. This is weird. I mean,
Yeah.
Okay, you played
Well,
Resident
at the time,
Evil, right?
yeah, I definitely played all the Resident Evils. I played all the Silent Hills. But when I remember, I know what Dead Space is, and I know there's like 3 of them, and then like some like little spin-off things. But I know when they came out was when I was really, really into World of Warcraft, and during that time I missed out on a lot of games. So I'm definitely gonna pick this up to like see this perspective, and I'm definitely gonna play the old games beforehand to get a better experience and see what they cut out and what they add to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love horror games in general, but I understand why they did it. They're trying to bring in like the new guys, who haven't played this, because this is pretty, it is an old IP that hasn't been had any love in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just, to me, it's
right.
yeah, it just, I don't know, but it's just a lot of remakes. I guess because like we literally just had a EA remake of like Mass Effect, which was good. I know Don's been loved it.
Was it what Mass Effect? Was it a remake or a remaster?
Remaster. What's the difference these days?
Because with
Remaster
with the
is
because
it's
with
like
Mhm.
I was just saying the difference. Like remaster is literally the same old game, but with slight adjustments and like updates. Where a remake is like a literal like ground up, like the whole game is redone completely.
Right, right. Because they were using a different engine
Yes.
for Dead Space. So with this
Yes.
engine, what is
It
it?
looked good.
called? What I forgot. Slip. No, that's Slip Space is with Halo. Gosh, whatever engine they're using for EA, and the same thing for Battlefield 2042 is what they're going to be using for Dead
The
Space.
Frostbite.
Oh, right.
The Frostbite, yeah,
Frostbite.
that's what it's called. So that in of itself is an accomplishment, I would say, because I mean, you're talking. Well, if you have the old assets, can you say it's easier to develop a game with all the old assets of a game, and you just basically have a form of reference? You know what I'm saying? Instead of like going completely from scratch. Like for instance, let's say they try to do Ninja Gaiden Black all over again, right? The remake, but they lost everything. They like Team Ninja don't have the source files. So could that be a remaster, or could that be just a brand new game altogether?
Well,
You know what I mean?
I think if they lost all the original source code, at that point they would just be doing a full remake. Or if they were gonna do a remaster without the original source code, that would definitely be a very hard remaster to do. Because I know with Diablo 2's remaster,
Yeah.
they're literally using the old game and just putting the newer graphics on top of it. So you're literally playing the same game. Like
Gotcha.
it's pretty cool how they did that.
Well, I think Mass Effect had a similar issue. I think in the Legendary Edition, all the DLCs there apart from one, because they just lost the files to it. Instead of trying to remake it, they just left it out. Because I think, you just have this thing what just looks obscenely different to the rest of the game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, quick thing. Does anybody have the stream have the podcast pulled up with their audio
Yep.
on? All right. Are
Yep.
you trying to hear yourself on there?
Yep.
Yeah, hear us. We're good.
I hear a little delay coming in. I just wanted to make sure. But that's fine. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't the technical issue on my end. All right. So, I know you guys heard this, but Asobo has been acquired by Tencent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, I was listening to a couple of people on the podcast. And maybe I didn't hear the right people because I haven't heard anybody say this, but some of those guys didn't know who Asobo was. And what is disturbing about this is these are the people that assisted, or actually they are the developers of Flight Simulator, who worked with Microsoft. So to see the devs of Flight Simulator now being purchased by Tencent, that I wonder what kind of leverage they would have over any future franchises that they had with Microsoft, or Microsoft might choose somebody different. We have 25 plus studios now, right? So, what do you guys feel about that?
I mean, I'm not crazy about Tencent in general.
Mhm.
I think they monetize their games a bit too harshly.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's kind of like I guess like another problem with it that I have, and this all depends on how markets change, right?
Okay.
This hasn't happened completely here in Western games yet, but there's always that worry of like what's the word? Like blocking content, like just because they don't agree
Like
with
region locking and all that.
not just region locking, but like just blocking things because they don't agree with it because of
Mhm.
their like ideology, which is
Okay.
fine if you stand up for it. But like I mean, if these devs and these artists have a certain way they're trying to make their game, but it's gonna get blocked off because the Chinese don't want these kind of things being expressed, or these ideas, right?
Right.
I just don't like when stuff like that happens. That's why I get afraid of mostly when I see Tencent buy companies and game studios.
I mean, so to reflect, not really to reflect, but to look at what you're saying, it's funny that you said that because Tencent, as of recent, um, they themselves received a shakedown from China's antitrust regulators this week.
Okay.
Um, so not only is Tencent involved in gaming, but they're involved in music, and they're also involved with movies, um, perhaps mobile devices, whatever. Their hands is in everything, right?
Yeah.
And apparently, they what they do. They struck some. They got into the music business. They struck deals with the three major music industry corporate companies, to include Sony Music and I think WB. I might be wrong, but somehow I'm assuming they got greedy and they tried to change a few things so that they can lock down how how music is being licensed and stuff like that. So when you mentioned how they deal with games, and to see that
Yeah.
replicated into the music industry, I'm wondering, are we going to see a lot more antitrust issues happening with Tencent and the games moving in a different direction? Because again, we did talk, I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but they have a share with Epic Games. Epic Games right now is kind of like the savior for certain devs, because Valve charges anywhere between 20 to 30% on games like that's being sold on their platform. So would that affect how devs now look at Tencent and who they are connected to moving forward, and shifting back to other platforms like Steam and so forth, Nvidia Shield, the Atari that's coming out, and Game Pass, whatever. So it's very interesting. But I just found it very interesting that they purchased Asobo, which dealt heavily with the flight simulator that everybody's raving about. And I felt Microsoft missed out on that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a
And
bit strange to see an external company kind of buy this game. What Microsoft, it's literally got Microsoft name on it.
yeah, and I guess I had that perspective because as a Blizzard player, and I even if I'm not currently playing a certain Blizzard game, I tend to watch their events. And I don't know if you guys remember like the whole Free Hong Kong thing with Blitzchung.
Mhm.
And
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's directly Tencent's fault, but I do know that they have a big portion of investment within Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, as well as Epic and Riot, which a lot of people don't know. And I can't help but feel how much of that is Tencent, how much is that just Blizzard trying to censor itself so they can appeal to that market in China, because it wasn't fair what happened. Like if some player wants to say something, like he didn't say anything crazy, he just said free Hong Kong. That's all he said. He didn't say anything
Oh yeah,
really
yeah.
bad.
And he got scrutinized for that.
Yeah, I mean, he lost his win. He didn't get his earnings. Two announcers, like who were on the tournament, got fired.
Oh wow.
Like right after. It's not even their fault that that happened. Like they can't control what this guy says, especially when it's live. So that's my biggest concern is censorship. When it comes to Tencent having too much authority in some of these companies. I mean, they straight out bought it, so I mean, whatever they say goes. But if we could see them, and like I said, I don't know exactly because we don't know like the inner workings, but they definitely have some influence, even if they have a major investment within some of these companies like Blizzard, and Epic and Riot and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So that's kind of hard. that's hard to come off of because we still see some of that stuff today where people are trying to they voice their opinions, but then they're getting shut down from the community that believes in a certain political viewpoint, right?
Yeah.
So we're not really going to get into that, but hats off. My hat goes off to anybody who stand up for what they believe in and they get scrutinized for it. Just know that keep moving forward. Keep doing what you're doing. There will be an answer sometime soon, but don't give up. All right. So Don CJG, what's going on with Halo and the flight? The flight. I know.
Oh man. Yeah, man. It's kind of boiled up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Cause I think so. I sent out a tweet on Wednesday asking Unishek, one of the community managers, what's inside Infinite blogs. Like the blogs will come out every month, right?
Okay.
They usually come out the last Thursday. I was like, hey, Unishek, keep expectations clear. What's this gonna be?
I saw that tag. I knew you was not gonna get the reply either. Like, who is this kid?
No way.
Who is this kid? From across the pond talking like this? Like, he got a podcast and now he's starting to talk like this. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. But I tell you what, right? About 4 hours later, the whole situation started kicking off on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So a few notable guys. I think the most notable name probably everyone recognized, Colt Eastwood. He kind of put out a tweet like, Xbox just confirmed my position for the flight. They're coming soon. Expect content on my channel. Right. A few other content creators, but I can't remember the name of. That was people going on.
That was not good with me. I did not like that. That to me that showed like a little bit of favoritism right there. I mean, I watch Colt. I'm very happy with where he is as a content creator. He was nothing and then he became something within 2 years, maybe a year, I don't know. But the way how that came across was kind of like you got all these people applying.
Yeah. This is the thing as well. I feel like the other content creators I saw, it was almost an exact same message.
Oh really?
So yes, I think it might have been a kind of marketing error from Xbox. Saying, you can tweet this out now.
Dang.
But because I guess it's kind of blanket text, right?
Okay.
So yeah, that was going around for like a couple hours, right? And everyone was like, "What? Is this flight's coming out soon? What's the details?" And everyone was kind of getting a bit of a huff and puff on Twitter. And then Unishek tweets. He tweets Colt. He's like, "Hey Colt, I don't know where you got this info from. Whoever emailed you, you need to get in contact with them because you're spitting lies right now." Right? And he puts out another tweet. He's like, this month's Inside Infinite is going to be about Halo Insider Flight. And second, flights have not been sent out. You'll know when they do. So he's basically debunking all of his content creator stuff.
Snap.
So I think he just has to damage control, right? I think obviously there's been some kind of marketing error, but I think it comes across as him firing shots at him, like, "Hey, look." But so that kind of kicked off, and so I was like, that was Wednesday. So I was like, okay, we got another like a week and a bit to Inside Infinite comes out. So it's supposed to come out 3:43 p.m. Pacific time and on last Thursday. But instead it dropped yesterday
Wait,
at like 9 p.m.
what? Wait, what?
Inside Infinite Block. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So, yeah. So I'm like, huh.
All right.
So yeah, I was watching TV. I just checked Twitter during the ad break, and it was like, oh yeah, here's the newest Inside Infinite blog, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
It came like a whole week early. So this is the whole blog post we've been waiting for, really, for about these insider flights, what everyone's been talking about. And if you check any Xbox or Halo social media account, they've been preaching sign up for Insider for the last
yeah.
like 2 weeks, 3 weeks,
Right.
right? And everyone's getting annoyed, like, give us the details.
But you know what's crazy was that when there was a part that was saying, hey, if you don't do this right, you won't get invited. There was a tweet
Yeah.
that came out, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, I was starting to
Think,
question, like, are all my check boxes correct on the website? Because you know,
Yeah, I think it was Brian Gerard, and he basically said, like, there's over 100,000 people who have not fully signed up properly.
Oh no.
Which
I'm-
I don't know how, because it's literally a couple of check boxes and fill in a form and you're done.
exactly.
So, so this blog came out last night, and they finally got the details out there, and I can run you through the list of things what was said.
Oh, fine. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go into it. So, they gave us an estimation of date when it's going to come out, and that is as early as next weekend.
Mm.
Okay.
So, instead of being on the podcast next week, I could be playing.
Hold up.
Like, guys, I'm really sick.
Better
I can't talk.
multitask.
Hold up. We might have to stream. Yeah, I might have to stream the game that time. Then I'm gonna have to work.
If we all
something
get
out.
invited. If we all get
Yeah.
invited.
Well, are you or Dio? Are you a part of the insiders?
I am, but I have not signed up for that. 'Cause I don't want to spoil
Yeah.
my experience.
Got you. All
I
right.
don't.
no.
I really don't
But
play a lot
wait,
of
wait,
betas.
wait, wait,
now.
wait. It's not the story, it's the multiplayer, right? So it's not
Yeah.
really spoiling the
Yeah.
experience, I'm assuming.
For me, it is.
Unless they fix something that makes
Yeah,
it
I get
better, and then okay, gotcha. All right.
Yeah, you want to go into the whole game fresh.
Yeah.
I think there's definitely a place for that, but to me, I think a lot of people misuse it, right? Like, it should be used not only to enjoy the game itself, but to actually report what's going on, right? If there's something wrong
Yeah,
with the game,
yeah.
report it. But most people don't, and I know I'm not going
Yeah.
to.
Well, this is what I like about what they've done with this first flight, which I'll get into in a minute. This is
Okay.
a lot. I feel like this is going to be a lot more of a... Because I think a lot of people online are throwing around the word beta, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they've been using flighting and technical preview. And like you said, these flights are meant for feedback, right?
Right.
Yep.
And so they actually went through and kind of specified what this flight's going to be. And they wanted to focus on a few feedback areas, just kind of movement, weapon balance, equipment, map design, and a lot of kind of behind the scenes stuff. So you're looking at your matchmaking times, your servers, and menu navigation. So what they've done, instead of giving you the full PvP experience that is Flight 1, they're actually doing a few things, which is arena versus bots. There's going to be 4 players versus 4 bots.
Okay.
And they're going to be doing a part of the academy experience, which is going to be like the weapon drills. And so you can have access to 3 multiplayer maps as well. So the kind of logic behind that, because I think a lot of people are quite confused, like, why we're not getting PvP. But if you think about it from like a server side of things,
Right.
instead of having 8 people in a match, you put 4.
Yeah.
You're doubling your data through the servers, and there's a lot of information like that what they can get.
Right.
I think that's
Especially
quite interesting that they've done
there are probably a lot more sessions, because if you throw a whole bunch of people into one map, that kind of shrinks the amount of sessions on the server
Yeah.
versus 4 people, and you have how much?
4 bots.
No. How much people subscribed?
Loads.
Right.
They
so,
said in this first flight, they're gonna have hundreds of thousands of people.
You know what I'm saying? So they're kind of testing their server capacity as well with
Yeah.
minimal amount of people and see how that works. What needs to work for the base multiplayer experience, like minimum. You know, like if me, you, Chainsaw, and Dio was playing, what is it called? Firefight, something like that.
Yeah.
You know,
This is just be the bar arena, but yeah.
right. So that's how I look at it. That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
It's not.
I
the
mean, they're
multiplayer
definitely
that's
going a lot
interesting.
more kind of foundational with it,
Yeah.
to be fair. And they're kind of looking at how it ties in with a new Waypoint app and experience. And I think it's smart what they've done here for the Fly One. You know, you give people a taste of the game, but you're not.
Would
Especially with
you
this first group as well. There's gonna be a lot more dedicated players, I think.
Would
Yeah.
you say that
I agree with that.
that this that is gonna like for people who used to play but they went over, let's say they went over to like Nintendo and PlayStation centric after like the Xbox One was released, right, back in 2015-17 timeframe. Are you saying would you think that this technical test will help people come back to Halo in a different light, or is this
I don't know if this first flight will.
okay,
Because I think this is definitely for
the
the
hardcore people?
core group of insiders. Yeah. Anyone who's been an insider for a long time,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think they're prioritizing really. So these are
Okay.
people who are really, you know, insiders who understand the process. Instead of
Right.
putting a bunch of new people here who just want to play the game and not going to feedback any information, you know.
Exactly.
Right.
So, yeah, I think they're being quite smart about it. To be fair. And
Yeah, I
then,
think even renaming it is very smart on their part too, because
yeah,
that misconception of what betas are now, right? Like people look at betas as like, oh, let me play the game before it comes out.
yeah, they even went down in the blog itself. They were very clear. Like, listen, it's not beta. There's expectation, and you know what a beta is. And you know, they've said, you know, the flighting build what we're gonna get is a few months behind where the actual build of the game is now. So you know, it's very much a server test to some extent. You know, that so they're being quite smart about, which I quite like. But as they open up that window of players, get more people in, I think they're going to introduce the PvP and, you know, more kind of gameplay balancing changes, I think.
Got you. Cool.
I'm excited. As early as next weekend, man. It's coming up.
Yes.
So Halo kind of squashed the whole situation, where they kind of basically became transparent, saying this is not the beta, this is a technical test. You're testing out servers.
I think it's important to test out servers as well, especially past
Mhm.
you know, MCC's launch in 2014, where
Yeah,
the
wow.
white just didn't work.
That one was that
So
one
I
was
think they're
learning
definitely
lesson
making
for
sure that
sure.
doesn't happen again.
But we got some confusion going on with Blizzard. Dio, what's going on with Blizzard on that end?
I wouldn't even say it's confusion because, well, I would say fanboys of Blizzard are
Mhm.
confused right now, right? I think
Okay.
if you look at it with, at the actual story logically, you know, when you just hear when you hear the headline like, oh, Blizzard sexual harassment, this blah blah blah, like, you know, I think a lot of people tend to think, well, they haven't been proved guilty yet, right? Like, oh, are these just people who are complaining about some little thing because of a dick joke at the office or some kind of stuff? And I think that's valid, right, when you first see something, but until you actually read the articles and understand what's going on, like, it's not just, you know, the little, you know, off-color joke or misunderstanding. It's really not that. This is a 2-year investigation by the state of California
Oh, wow.
against Blizzard. Like 2 years of them getting like evidence against them, getting these stories, and a lot of these stories are pretty disheartening, especially if they are true. One female worker actually committed suicide
No way.
based on these harassment. Yeah.
And that was our work event as well, right?
Yes. So it's definitely not so cut and dry. I mean, obviously, until things are proven, you know, obviously you're innocent until proven guilty, but it's not looking good. It looks really bad, And this is not just World of Warcraft. This is, an Activision Blizzard. Like, there's also talks about this happening in Activision, but the most of this news that have come out so far has been about Blizzard itself. And this is big because this is not just on like Kotaku or anything like that. I've seen articles about this on CNN, on USA Today, Newsweek, uh, Washington Post. So this is like mainstream news now. This is not like some little, this will
Right.
go away kind of thing. This is a possible like company breaker depending on how bad this gets.
Hmm.
Wow.
So it's
Uh,
sad, and because obviously not everyone in Blizzard does this, right?
Right.
Um,
And
the
but
people,
here's the other thing too. That was their dream job. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Oh, for sure.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that's a great point, because I mean it's really sad because a lot of these people start as interns, right? So they're pretty much getting paid nothing, and then when they finally get a job there, they're just so happy, right? I mean, imagine being someone who, I mean, think of whatever your favorite game is, right? Growing up, and then working for that company, right? Like for you, I would imagine it was like Ninja Gaiden, right? Like
Team
imagine
Ninja, let's go.
playing all this. Excuse me?
Team Ninja, let's go.
I know, right? Like imagine that, like growing up loving those games, getting the chance to intern for them and then working for them is like that would be amazing. Like for me, like growing up, that would have been like working for Sega.
Right.
So,
Hmm.
and then to like be somewhere where you feel like no one cares about you, and because like there's so much like to this, like how females were literally getting less desirable jobs and getting passed for promotions because they were pregnant, or they might even get pregnant.
Yeah, that's the thing that might even for me was just like really.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
I mean, and for the most part, obviously, I mean, I'm sure low-level employees were engaging in some of this too because I mean they want to fit in. But for
Right.
the most part, this seems like it was mostly higher-up people um, abusing their power, and that's really what it comes down to, is just people abusing their power.
Because
So this
sometimes
could happen in any company.
I wonder if it was something relative to hazing when people first come into a company. You know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
in order to be a part of not a sect per se, but if you want to be considered as such, this is you would have to do this, you have to do that, and then next it leads to something else that wasn't really a part of the plan. You know what I mean? Like it's I've seen those happen before. I mean that draws way back to the immaturity of middle school, high school type situations, but to see that being replicated in businesses where for instance, Dio, we created a studio, right? But then you're an intern and you are way better than I am. Instead of me from learning from you, I'm competing against you, and then I degrade you, and then I sent you to a completely different office. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like,
Yep.
I don't know. It just kind of it hurts, because I seen that before. I just haven't seen on the level where Activision Blizzard is at this time. It's disgusting in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, in a way, and I'm not saying this in a way to say it's okay, but it makes sense that it's happening in gaming industries, right? Because these companies have been making lots of money for a very long time, and they're just now starting to get more regulated, right? I mean, we've even seen how these workers have in the past are underpaid, or like not even getting overtime hours, or being forced to work overtime, not allowed to get vacation days. So this is just a huge problem in many facets of worker abuse,
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't surprise me to see this. I think with a lot of these things getting more regulated, and the general community as a whole understanding more what's going on behind the scenes, this will definitely not happen. It won't be as prevalent. I think a lot of people were just ignorant of these things going on. It was like its own little world, right? To an
Mhm.
extent. I think that's the sad part of it. And like how we were saying before, I think like the saddest part of it is just because I think most people who get into the gaming industry are gamers, so
Right.
they're expecting this to be not just a job, but somewhere like you can actually legit have fun while you work. Um, where I think a lot of these people who are getting in positions of power, especially more recently, are coming from other industries where they don't care about gaming as a whole. They just care about making that
That money. Yeah.
top dollar
Yeah.
because they were
profit 'em.
successful in whatever company.
Yeah.
So now they're over here trying to replicate that same success, not understanding that this is a place of, expression of creativity.
Exactly.
And I'm
yeah.
not saying that other industries don't have that, but this is what makes video games thrive, right? Like, because I mean, it's literally like like movies. Like, this is a medium that can express so many of the things that movies and songs and other things can't, because it takes from all those other mediums and combines them,
It's funny that
and
you
it's
say that.
interactive.
It's funny that you say that because a lot of the film industry and game industry is merging, and you can see that where a lot of the movie directors and cinematic artists, concept artists, has shifted to video game. What I'm fearful of is the woes that are in Hollywood being
Yeah.
a part of the game industry. And this is kind of like where it's kind of touching that sensitive area where people are being mistreated because, you're not collectively, originals, or, you're not the legacy
Yep.
people. So now you gotta, be this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you mention gamers, I look at people who they've been drawing all their life. They've been drawing their favorite characters. They might not have been playing games, but they've been very involved in creature development and character development and personas and human, like drawing humans in different ways, and then being picked up into the game industry to showcase those visions. Because of course you go to Hollywood, your ideas may not be met because you're at the discretion of everybody else in the movie and the publishers and everybody else doing their stuff. So when you come into like a game studio and you say, hey, these are my ideas, thoughts, oh, we can use that, and you feel compelled to stay because your ideas, your concepts are now being seen, not just by the studio but worldwide. Like, Don CJG, you remember that one guy, I forgot his name, Halo. He's in Halo. He was one of the founders of Halo, I would assume. And he had an interview, and he was basically an intern, but Jason Jones, he and Jason Jones were the found, like they created the concepts of Halo. There were so many different.
Marcus Leto, the video came out. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That in of itself is an inspirational video for other people who are concept artists, who are enjoying designing, to look at that and be like, yeah, I can get into gaming too. But what's going on with EA, not EA, sorry, Activision and Blizzard, that's causing second thoughts. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard.
Yeah.
But what's hard for me right now? I've been waiting for this game to come out forever. So we got news about Skulls and Bones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird that we were talking about this game not too long ago as well. I think we asked the question like, what happened to this game?
Look, what happened to Skulls and Bones? What happened to what is it called? Good and Evil 2. Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like we're kind of getting a bit of more of a glimpse into what happened or what is happening to Skull and Bones. I can't remember this. If I don't remember the source of this, I can't remember off the top of my head. It's basically in dev hell.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my understanding of it was it's kind of been stuck in a cycle of being so many different ideas and kind of restarted a few times, and then all this new technology's come out to restart again because all the assets are outdated, but all the teams have switched out and leadership's changed, and there's been no consistency in the development of this game, and I guess a lack of a clear vision. Well, I think I'm going to say something controversial again. Like I said, I a couple weeks ago with Assassin's Creed Infinity. I feel like Ubisoft are losing their inspiration and their insight.
The question is, who left?
Here's the question.
That's the question I would ask. But the reason why this game has not been given up yet is because of a deal that they have with the Singapore studio and the government there, that they have to release the game. And it's kind of sad because, like, when you think about it, now you can't walk away from the game. Everybody's twiddling their fingers, spinning around in their desks with their faces looking up to the ceiling, looking for inspiration somewhere, but then hoping that somebody would say, hey, you remember what you did like months ago? We want that in a different game. We're transferring you. I mean, I can see the inner soul is like crying out, like, yes, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm finally moving, because
just to get taken off that project.
Exactly. And the thing about it is, this is a project that I was waiting on forever. Like, I don't know if y'all played the Black Flag, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but I dreaded going on land and doing anything because there was so much of an adventure on the seas.
At the time there was like it, right?
Right. I mean, there still isn't anything like it. I mean, I can't think of another game that does better than the sea combat for Black Flag. I mean, let's paint the picture here, right? You start off with the most ridiculous crummy of a boat, right? With one, like, you basically start off like Sea of Thieves, where you only have a few cannons that you can actually work with, right? And then as you take down ships, you acquire the resources that will lead you to building your ship even better. That in of itself, that was it for me. Okay.
Okay.
And then they included the warships. It's almost like north, south, east, and the west of the map had its own warship that if you defeat them, you acquire their power. One was ramming, one was in speed. I forgot what the other two was, or hardening of the ship. I forgot, but it was that. I mean, if there was ever a boss on the waters, that was it, because it was like fighting a boss for like 2 to 5 hours of trying to learn how they operate and then taking them down. If you die, you have to start over, and then you have to find them because they're never in the same location. Yeah, it was very interesting. So you better come manned up with the most souped up ship that you could to take them out, because you couldn't just be a schooner, if you will. I'm just using terms here, but you couldn't be like, day one jumping in, here's your ship, you go out with your crew.
You just get beaten down on.
Bro, you wouldn't even make it to the ship. I mean, because people would be tracking you down. There were headhunters that needed to take you down because you had a bounty on your head. So there were ships like that they would give you a bonus. I think it's bonus money and experience, I think. But bro, when they said Skulls and Bones was based off of that, I was like, let's go.
Yeah, because especially with Black Flag Neighbor had such a positive reception, right?
Whew, I'm telling you.
Everyone was just like, oh snap, this is gonna be a thing. And didn't they show like a gameplay demo?
They did.
Existed, right?
They showed.
Apparently that was all just not real.
They showed 2, but they were cinematics. That's why today you see people saying, "Don't show me cinematics, show me gameplay." Pretty much. Anthem was another one of those. They showed cinematics. They didn't show gameplay. Because even the game did not exist at that point with Anthem. So, but apparently the game did exist with Skulls and Bones, but because somebody at the head of Ubisoft didn't like the direction, they changed the lead. And with every lead, there's changes in the studio, and then everybody has ideas. So there were two teams. There were 2 teams, and they're always clashing. So it's interesting that a major publisher is having these issues.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ubisoft is no small company, but I just feel like they're. I just know. I feel like the vision over leadership is something's just not right, and this game's been delayed 5 times now, 4 or 5 times.
yeah.
It's crazy, man.
I think it was 4 times. They're supposed to come out in 2023 now.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's some pretty good quotes here that I think kind of explain it all.
Go ahead.
Like the first one right here is, things always go wrong during game development.
Oh yeah.
But with Skull and Bones, they rarely seem to go right. And then another one is, it's a classic case of mismanagement for 8 years.
Oh wow.
Like, and that's a former Ubisoft developer, so he doesn't even work there anymore. He's like, nah, I'm good, dude. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And then this guy's, he's actually a current Ubisoft developer. Since the beginning, this project has always been driven by fear. Like, that sucks, because that's just a bad environment to work in, right? Because no one wants to make mistakes, so no one wants to be creative.
So that's the fear he's talking about, where you're not allowed to.
Yeah, and fear is only going to increase. But
it's almost like your opinion doesn't even matter at this point, right?
Yeah.
It's like, this is the way how it's gonna be. That's wow.
Well, I think at this point, I just need to get a product out the door.
Yeah,
I hate to say it, but I feel like contractually they kind of have to.
Yeah, if anything, that should have been a free to play. I would play that, and I would, I would play it just because I know where it
to
came
be honest,
from.
I feel like at this point the game needs to be free to play because no one cares about this game anymore.
I mean, give it to the community. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there are greater devs than in Ubisoft that would love to see this game become something. You know what I'm saying? Like, picture Ark. If Ark was in the hands of the community, I mean, I'm sure that game would probably be better than Phantasy Star Online 2 in ways of development. You know what I'm saying? Like, how they would do it, how they would want to see it. You know, I'm my bad, Dio.
I'm confused. Ark, like the dinosaur game?
Yes.
That's pretty well loved.
It's loved.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, that game being Skulls and Bones in the hands of the community, I think it would flourish pretty much by the beloved folks who enjoy Black Flag. You know, I mean, I can't see if the devs don't like it. If the devs don't like it, give it away. Put it out there, free to play. I mean, what was it? Like how they did. I don't know if this is the same correlation, but when you look at PUBG was made off of another game. You know what I'm saying? It was purely community, driven before they became a studio. Give it away. Use your talents for things that you need them for, Ubisoft. And stop neglecting your people.
I thought you were gonna get at the point of like that game that the people who made Ark made that pirate game called Atlas.
No, bro, don't even go there, bro.
That definitely failed. Yeah.
That was gonna be my replacement, and then I didn't even make it to the ship, dude. I was like, yo, this is bad.
Damn, really?
No, bro, because you have to craft your ship.
Wow.
You have to build your ship, and I was like, okay, I can understand that, right? But it was so clunky in the beginning. I was like, this is worse. This is worse than Conan.
Ooh. Yeah, Conan's not very good.
At least in Conan, you can run and you can do things, right? I mean, you have at least an hour to where you can say you don't like it, right? Because there's combat in it, you can do stuff. Bro, in this one, dude, it was laggy, and it was during the beginning of when it dropped. Like, I was avid. I was like, I'm going into the game. I'm going to create my ship. I'm going to take people down. I was ready. I couldn't even move properly. I was like, yeah, this is too much.
I never understood how that game failed, because all they had to do was just reskin Ark with pirate stuff. That's all they had to do.
And all Ubisoft have to do with Skull and Bones is reskin Black Flag.
Technically,
right?
Technically. Yeah, I think I have this problem, right? And colleagues at work can attest to this. Like, I have a problem overthinking things, right? Or thinking too much. And I think they thought way too much about Black Flag. I mean, not Black Flag. Skulls and Bones. Yeah, like they saw it as an opportunity to make more money when they should have been a DLC to begin with. They should have left it as a DLC in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And they should have expanded on what people wanted from the DLC. You know, I can see where maybe they were afraid that Ubisoft would say, well, you put it as a DLC, it's great, while it will last it, we're going to move on. Community's going to continue to play it as long as the game is supported. Boom. And then, you know, but somebody, like a creative director or whomever, you know, push some buttons and be like, yeah, we can make this into a game because it can be way better than what they anticipated Black Flag to be, right? Whatever.
Yeah.
So when you got people like that who stand in and try to make something more than what it seems to be, I think we're looking at the aftermath at this point. So, yeah. Have you guys heard of X Defiant?
Yeah. It was hard to miss X Defiant. You know what? Until you'd said that, I completely forgot it existed.
Yo.
Oh, that thing. Oh, yeah.
What? Wait, hold on. So you forgot it existed, and Dio like purely wiped it out of existence until it just came back to light. Yo, that was kind of funny. I mean, I didn't mean to like say that it's funny, but it's kind of like, bro, I didn't expect Dio to know what it was, but then when he's but this further proof why Dio doesn't want to remember.
I think you know what, that example reacting to that, just kind of a general community.
Oh my
towards
gosh.
the game. That was just everyone's perception towards that game. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, this is almost the same problem that I had with that version of Rainbow Six that they're coming out with, but this takes it kind of like to the next level, right? Because at least with that, they introduced it to the game, so apparently people did like it, and you could have this do whatever spinoff. But at this point, you're just abusing the Tom Clancy name.
100%.
There's not even any like hiding it at this point. Like the whole point of Tom Clancy is tactical shooters usually with stealth mechanics. I mean, the community has been waiting for another Siphon Filter forever. You know, I don't know. Like it just blows my mind. I don't get who thought this was a good idea.
You know,
Here's
now
the
that
thing, right? I
Go
think
ahead.
I would probably like be cool with the game if it just didn't have Tom Clancy's name on it. To be honest.
For sure.
I would have
Completely agree.
liked the game if it didn't have the fire people from the Division in it. Like imagine walking around with a fire with the what is it called?
Yeah.
With the fire thingy, the blowtorch, whatever.
Flamethrowers.
Yeah, dude. Like, yo, I mean, just if you want to be a Call of Duty competitor, be a Call of Duty competitor. But you know, at least let's start off with the basics because I can't see myself with a giant tank on my back running after people and somebody just one shot me from my tank and blows me up. That's not gonna be cool. I'm just thinking about it. Like they're trying to import everything from every Tom Clancy game into a multiplayer, arena style PvP type thing, and like
honestly, it could work though. It could work,
okay.
but the art direction just screams of like, look at me, like it totally goes against. I mean, look at these people. It looks sci-fi. It doesn't even look like.
You know what it reminds me of? Bleeding
like,
Edge mixed with Tom Clancy.
Oh, you know what? It reminds me of a game. I'm gonna find it.
It
I'm
looks
gonna
like
find
Apex
it on my
Legends to me.
playlist.
You said Apex
know, like-
Legends?
Yeah, but like, it's just too colorful. It's too artsy. I mean, and I this is kind of funny because they've started to use this little thing in the bottom of their games, and like this shows like literally it's the complete opposite, right? Like usually like you'll have like the title of the game, like for this one is Tom Clancy's X Defiant, right? And then in the bottom of it says an Ubisoft original, and like there is nothing original about Ubisoft anymore. It's just recycled stuff. At least you know what, EA, as much as I complain about them and stuff, they actually surprised me with this game Lost in Random. I would have never expected them to come up with some cool looking game like that, you know, because it looks actually interesting. It looks like some of the stuff that they used to come out with in the early 360 days. I was like, okay, cool. everything else was like pretty much like, all right, whatever, I expect that. But this was legitimately surprising. I can't say the same about Ubisoft because it's just Assassin's Creed every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's some form of Tom Clancy.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing they did, dude, I had to admit that was pretty good and it was surprising. But even then, it's not really original, right? Because it's stealing lore from ancient like Greece and China. Is that
yeah,
what was
I
that
know
game
you-
called again?
I
Hey, what, this game
is
reminds me
is the Zelda remake for Ubisoft. That's why I think about it. I forgot what it's
Yeah,
called.
like Breath of the
reminds
Wild,
me of,
right?
Yeah, Breath of the Wild. Yeah. So technically, it's not a remake except the story.
Yeah, it's not really original
Uh-huh.
either, right? Like there's just so many borrowed things in that game as well. Immortals Phoenix Rising. That's
Yeah,
what it was.
it's not. Yeah, it's not original. Yes, because they.
I mean, for them, it's original.
For them, yeah,
But-
but I mean, for us is our entry into like what is Breath of the Wild, right? Because
Mhm.
that's what it sounds like to me. Is like they wanted to make something like it for Xbox or for just any multiplayer, multi-platform experience. I believe
Yeah.
that's what they did. But now that you said that, it's very interesting. Well, they're not original because their originality died with their originations. And-
Yeah,
and it's kind of
for
weird.
sure.
Like
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I got you.
I'm glad you
I'm
do,
on the
because
same brain left.
So they're trying not to be, copying anybody. So if you're gonna copy anybody, let's copy ourselves.
Pretty much. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Dom.
It's just such a misstep, man. Because like I said, like this could have worked. It really could have.
Yeah.
And it just came down to the art direction. And I know why they did the art direction. Because they want to sell cosmetics, right? They want to be able to sell
yeah.
crazy looking outfits and stuff like that. Which, hey, I'm not gonna completely knock a company from wanting to make money because that's the point of a company.
Yeah.
But do it within the realm of what players who play this genre of gaming want. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because like visually, this reminds me of a game I played in the 360, like Gotham City Imposters. I don't even anyone here knows what that game is.
I actually remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of that. Yeah, I played that forever, right? Visually, it reminds me of that, and I feel like, this is going into Ubisoft's free-to-play thing. I think this is the beginning of it, and
Yeah.
I think when them saying that was kind of the warning, like, hey, look, stuff's coming, and I think this is the beginning. And this wasn't received well, and this is like their first the game they're doing this for, right?
Yeah.
So man, I feel like, look, don't abuse the Tom Clancy name with it. I get it's power branding, but I don't necessarily understand that the Tom Clancy brand sells games like that. I just, I don't know.
I mean, they even messed up the Tom Clancy logo. I mean, you look at the logo and it has like these pink things around the soldier and the X. I don't know, like we said before, like if it was literally just X Defiant, it probably would have had no criticism. People probably would have been excited, be like, "Oh, this looks kind of cool."
Right,
The
yeah,
interest would
literally.
be there.
It's
I
like-
think the interest would be
that's the
there,
thing,
but
I
they
think
would want to know more about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing, it doesn't. What a little gameplay we saw. I don't think it looked that bad in terms of gameplay, but it's just a branding. Like
Yeah.
it's just not it, man.
You know why they probably did it? What was that other game that they came out with like literally a few months ago? That's pretty much on the same page as this.
Descenders
No.
or
You talking about the Battle Royale one?
No,
it
the
was
free-
another free-to-play game they came out with, right? Hyperscape or something.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hyper-
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. The Battle Royale thingy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe that's why they went this route because they saw that this Hyperscape didn't do very well.
Did it not do well?
That's
I-
one way of saying it.
Oh, wow.
No, it didn't
wait,
do well.
What? I left it and never even looked back. You know what I'm
You
saying?
mean
So
Hyperscape, what was just now dead? That game.
what? Well,
I mean,
hmm.
that's the problem. They keep trying to chase trends.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't set their own trend yet, and that's the problem. Like, they need to stop chasing these trends and just try to make something themselves. You know, I
Yeah.
think that's the problem.
Oh,
I mean,
let it- wow.
Not that anything can't compete with Fortnite, you know, but it's a hard thing to go against, especially because like
Yeah.
Fortnite holds like the the majority of people who play battle royales. But I mean, you do have people who like other games that are doing decent in there, like Warzone and Apex Legends. But
But you know
I
what
don't
too?
know.
These guys did not believe in the trend that they're now trying to jump in the beginning.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it was PUBG, and then Microsoft scooped up on that, and then Epic Games turned their zombie-like game into Fortnite, right? Because they saw the potential. Not only that,
Yeah.
but they have a complete strategy of how they will engage with the community, how they will sell to the community, how they give back to the community. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have all these strategies of what they're gonna do in Fortnite. So now that all this is being done and it's been successful, now you have, these templated battle royale games coming from different companies, and it's kind of like testing grounds that will never make it, because everybody can see that it's a testing ground. There's, like you said, no originality to it that sets itself apart, and I think that's what's important. What really set apart Hyperscape from everybody else was the speed. I think it was more along the speed of not Apex Legends, but the game that Apex Legends was based off of. Titanfall. Titanfall was a very fast-paced game. So and then jumping around the map with the ball, you becoming the ball and bouncing around, and you can actually hit people with that. I mean, they would add certain things that would make it interesting, but what really didn't come across pretty well was weapon placements and how the weapons and when you get the same weapon, it boosts up the power or strength of it. You know what I'm saying? And then people got so good that other people who were trying to get into it didn't really have a chance. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's like, it's yeah.
Like, honestly, the reason why Fortnite is so successful is because you could be a bad player and still have fun with it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be a really good player, because especially depending on which mode you pick, right? Obviously, but if you just stick to the default mode where it's like 50 versus 50 and you just constantly get to respawn, there's like no real big punishment there. So even if you keep dying, it's like, oh well, I can still have my fun and keep playing. But also, they just constantly have their community engaged. Even though their seasons do last a few months, in between during the season they're still putting new content.
Yeah,
where a lot of these
just
companies
have like a Ferrari thing going on right now.
I don't even know, man. There's always something new in that game, which is great for the people who enjoy it.
Yeah.
Where a lot of these other companies who are trying to get into that space for battle royales, they just kind of want to dip their toes, so they're not committing as much. So how can you compete with a company that is constantly putting new stuff out there?
Going off what you said, I think people want to cash in on battle royale without actually putting the effort in. Fortnite's done so well is because they doubled down. They played the card. Okay, we invested in this game, and because they've done that, they've made the money. They've seen the success. But Hyperscape, they didn't put the double down effort in. They just put product out and thought it would just milk itself.
Exactly.
That's not how it's gonna work.
Yeah. Well, guys, this is the Digital Cypha Podcast. We talked about a lot today, but we also want to thank you for being with us today. We're here every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or again, that's 3 or 5 o'clock your time, sir.
3 p.m.
3 p.m. British Standard Time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you guys for liking the show and subscribing. If you haven't done so, feel free to do so that you know when we go live. Again, that's every Saturday at 10 a.m. So until then, you guys be safe, enjoy your weekend, and keep gaming.
Thank you, guys.
Peace.